everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dribble podcast. My name is Craig O'Donoghue from the West Australian newspaper, taking you through another season of talking to guests from the Perth Wildcats, Perth Lynx and WA basketball in general to give you the best insight possible into what's happening in the sport throughout this state. And this week we are heading overseas to the US to catch up with a trio of West Aussies who are plying their trade at college level. Like many aspiring basketballers, Alex Ducas, Bowen and Harry Wessels are relishing the chance to experience being a student athlete, but the difference is they're doing it all on the same team at St Mary's. Alex, Kyle, Harry, welcome to the Dribble podcast.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Now, you're just fresh from training. You've had a good win the other day to take you to 12-4. Alex, you must be really excited to be in this sort of a position at this stage of the season. Yeah,
I guess I'm really proud of the guys, being one of the older guys and a leader on this team. I'm really happy where we're at the season so far. We had a tough preseason schedule, and the guys came out really well. I mean, we've got a young group that's still learning, and we're getting better by game. So we're at a good stage in our season so far. I'm happy for sure.
So, Kyle, you had a big game, 7 points, 15 rebounds. That followed 13 rebounds in the game straight after Christmas. What's been the key to your current success and your form?
I think it's just all about being more aggressive, especially with it being my senior year. I wanted to take a more aggressive role, whether that be scoring or, like we've seen in the past 2 games, rebounding. But no, just kind of fighting for the loose ball has been a mantra of our team, and it's kind of in the St. Mary's DNA to be a guy who gets after those loose balls and the easy rebounds. So, I mean, I've just been in the right place at the right time, but hoping to keep it rolling for these next couple of games as well.
So, Alex, you're averaging 12 points a game, but the real key is you're shooting at 44%. That includes 6 of 11 from the last 2 matches from 3-point range. So take us through your season so far.
Yeah, I think I've been all right for our team so far. I'm shooting the ball well, but I have to give credit to my team. I kind of just stand there and catch and shoot it, and the guys find me where I need to be. So, no, I'm doing well. I think I've got a lot more to improve, and I think if we can keep getting better each game, we'll be good.
And Harry, you're in a vastly different situation to the other two as a first-year player, but you're a massive unit. Like, you are fair income huge, 215 centimetres. Your size makes you a genuine weapon. How have you found fitting into this sort of a competition?
It's been great. I've been having great leaders and great teammates that have been helping me fit in. I feel like I've found myself in a pretty good role where I can help my team by being gritty and being tough and help bring energy when I come onto the floor. And yeah, it's been great, definitely.
So student athlete life, it's not simple. We hear about it all the time. So let's go through what your days are like. Alex, take us through what a typical day of a student athlete is like.
Yeah, so I guess if we actually start our classes tomorrow. We've had a bit of a break over Christmas, which has been nice. Tomorrow we have class from 9:15 to 11:45, and then get straight out of class and go to practice from 1 till probably 2:30, and then go home and have a quick little nap, and then tomorrow's game day. So I guess we have a game at 7 p.m. Most days we have 2 classes a day, sometimes 3. But yeah, it's a lot of classes, a lot of back and forth between the training room and classes, and then to the gym, and then to obviously the court for workouts later on in the afternoon. So it's definitely a full-on schedule, but we enjoy it. We love it. It's all part of the game.
So what are you studying, Alex?
I'm a business major.
And Kyle, what's your major?
Yeah, I'm doing the same business.
And what about you, Harry? Are you doing business as well, or are you going down a different track?
I'm undergrad at the moment. I'm kind of just doing some general classes at the moment and figuring out what I like. But I'm thinking along the lines of business as well. So
the other two are a bit more experienced in the whole student athlete life. How have you found it, Harry, being a first year trying to work out how do you combine basketball and basically being professional with the way that it's all set up with trying to have a life where you're studying at the same time?
Yeah, I actually graduated in 2020, so I kind of had a year off school, and then now coming back into a school environment where I have to do the schoolwork and the basketball work, it's kind of been a little bit of a shock, but sort of being able to organize myself and keep on top of everything has been a challenge. But I feel like I'm doing all right. So, but it's been good. I enjoy it.
Left-hand drive, jump stop, blocked by Bowen as he tried to pull up from about 8 on the left baseline. So big stop by Bowen, who nearly fouled out of this game, if you remember. Comes up with a huge play there. Ducas in the corner takes a catch and shoot 3. It's good! Alex Ducas with a huge shot to take the momentum back. Catch and shoot 3 from the corner. And that gives the Gales a 7-point lead again. 2:34 to play and a timeout taken by Randy Bennett.
Now, there'll be some people listening who will know you guys quite well, others who won't be as aware of your background. So let's just take us through your lives. Alex, we'll start with you. Well, you're Geraldton boy, so talk us through life up there, school, club basketball, into how you ended up being at St Mary's.
Yeah, so obviously I'm born and raised Jerry boy, and I rep that proudly. So I started in Jerry playing obviously local domestic competition and working my way up to the juniors. I started off playing the men's league at a pretty young age, and I guess that's where I kind of built a bit of toughness and a bit of grit going against older guys from a young age. And then I got involved into the state teams. My dad was one of the WA country coaches and was always in the scene, so he was my coach growing up and kind of led me the way. And then from my state teams, I kind of did all right, and I got noticed to go to a Australian development camp. And then from that camp, I did pretty well, and I got invited to the NBA Academy when I was just first starting out in Canberra. So it was awesome to be a part of the inaugural 2 Australian athletes in that program. And obviously, Josh Giddey and Dyson Daniels have kind of excelled it and taken it to be where it's known worldwide now. And so, yeah, I started from there and then did a few Australian junior national team representative things and back and forth to Greece and Latvia and Italy and wherever else we went, and which was amazing. And then, yeah, I got recruited to St Mary's, took a few visits to other colleges, and then, yeah, definitely was happy with my choice and chose St Mary's. And 4 years later, I'm still loving it.
And Kyle, take us through your journey.
Yeah, so I'm a city boy myself. Grew up around Shelley in the Williston area, so that's where I kind of started my domestic journey. Went through all the junior ranks and wobble and whatnot at Perth Redbacks, and managed to slip into the SBL team as a young fella as well. After that, I got invited to an Australian development camp where I was able to join the Institute of Sport. Spent 2 years there back and forth from home, and during that time I got to be a development player for the Wildcats as well, where I managed to win a ring as a little development player, which is a nice little piece I got on showcase in the room here. And then obviously after that, had a few Australian national teams, and then ended up here at St Mary's, which, like Alex is always saying, he's loving it, so I'm loving it as well.
And Harry, take us through your journey.
Yeah, I grew up in the country as well, down in Boddington, south of Perth. Was there till seventh grade, and then I moved up to Aquinas College and did boarding school there, and that's kind of, I started playing basketball at school, and then it wasn't until I was 15 where I started to really enjoy the game and wanted to take it more seriously. And then from there, just really developed and got good when made state teams. And then just before year 12, I, like the other boys, got invited to a development camp and then got invited to Canberra from there. And then my journey in Canberra kind of coincided with COVID. So I got there March 2020 and then was there for like the whole COVID period. So it was a lot of training, not a lot of playing. And then after that, found myself here at St. Mary's.
Guarded by Jefferson, shot fake, and here's Wessels stepping in the passing lane. Foot race to the rim for the big man with the flush. Harry Wessels.
And have you always been massive, or have you one who grew with a spurt later on in your teenage years, or have you always been the guy who people went, how on earth are we stopping this bloke?
I've definitely always been tall. I feel like it was definitely filled out a bit in the last couple of years. I feel like growing up I was definitely tall and skinny, and now I'm not so much the skinny part, but always been tall, and now it's kind of it's pretty handy though when it comes to basketball, for sure.
215 centimetres and 115 kegs at 20 years of age. I reckon it's very handy to be that sort of a size in sport. So, Alex, St Mary's has such an amazing history with Australians playing there. Paddy Mills, Matthew Dellavedova, Jock Landale. We had Adam Caporn on here as a guest earlier on in the year, and obviously he was from there as well. Did having those guys all go through and knowing it's Little Australia, as a lot of people refer to it, did that help you to make the decision to go there and influence that decision?
Yeah, definitely played a part. I think knowing that being an Australian athlete myself and coming to America in a foreign environment, seeing that other past Australians have been through St. Mary's and done so well, kind of definitely made it enticing to come here. It wasn't the only reason, but I knew the relationship the coach has with his players and the family environment that's at St. Mary's, and I knew I was going to fit in perfectly. Like you said, I was a little Australia away from home, and it's exactly how you recognise we've got Australian flags hanging up everywhere around the gym. we have a cricket bat in the locker room. So like we're definitely bringing a lot of Australian iconic things over here. And but yeah, I definitely like seeing the Australian players come through past before me and paving the way. I'm trying to fill them shoes.
So when the cricket bat comes out, I can imagine the Yanks trying to work out how to play cricket. Like, what's that situation like? Is it just you three mucking around, or how many people are actually involved in a cricket match in the USA?
Yeah, it's actually pretty hyped around here. I mean, we pull it out sometimes before we do our weight sessions and hit it up and down on the court here and there. And a lot of the time it's in the locker room. We kind of one person stands in front of in the bathroom and we bowl the ball as fast as we can at them and see if they can hit it. But it's a little bit of fun at the end of the day, and they love it. So it's good. It's good fun.
Have you all influenced each other's decisions to get there? Like, how much have you three spoken over the years to end up together as three West Aussies in the same location? Kyle, can you give us an idea about how much you and Alex sort of spoke initially, and then Harry, after Kyle finishes, or what conversations you had with those guys?
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me and Alex, it was definitely like a relationship factor. Obviously, living together similarly at the shoot in Canberra, we were like fairly close mates, brothers, whatnot. So we definitely had conversations about where we were going to commit and if we were both going to commit to St. Mary's. And thankfully, it all worked out, and we've been connected to the hip for the past 4 or 5 years. So, and then in our relationship with Harry's case, I think it's just always good to have an Australian on the roster when you're trying to commit. For us, it was the likes of Tanner Krebs and Jock Perry, who were able to have conversations with us at what it's like at St. Mary's as an international player, and especially an Australian. So I think it's just comforting having those conversations with like-minded people, and especially when you're going to be in an environment so far away from home and so culturally different, it's very, very useful. And
Harry, how much did you speak to those guys?
Didn't know them too well in the lead up. My basketball journey didn't really take off until those guys had already gone to college. So, but obviously knew of them, knew Duke's dad coached me in state teams growing up. And so it was just very comforting to know that they were there and they were doing well, and I was going to come in and there was going to be, like, yeah, as Cole said, like-minded people, and it just makes the decision a lot more easier, definitely, coming over there.
And Cole, you did mention championship ring. You've already won a championship before you've even done anything. I think it was 4 games, 3 points for the season. I remember being in Melbourne at the time. You looked very sheepish as you walked up to receive your ring as well. It was like, I've done so much in this team. What was it like? Like, it must have been awesome to have been part of that entire experience.
For sure. I look back at those times and I was like you say, a little sheepish young kid. But I treated every session, every game as a sponge. I was soaking up as much information, as much, as much as I could in those situations, watching professionals do what they do and do what they get paid to do. I wasn't actually supposed to be at that game 4 in Melbourne. It was supposed to be Tommy Jervis, but he had an injured back in game 3, and Trevor let me know that I had a flight ticket over to Melbourne, and the rest is history. But I am completely thankful to the Perth Wildcat organisation for kind of letting a young kid such as myself be in that situation and learn so much. But that was an amazing experience that I will never forget, for sure.
And to actually have the ring, like, not all teams give out rings to DPs, but Jack Bendat was very generous, making sure that everyone got one in the organisation. Is it in America with you? Is it on display, or have you got it back in Perth?
No, it's honestly 2 meters away from me, and I think that's just a testament to the organisation they are. They care about their guys, old through young. So, I mean, similar to St. Mary's, there's a family over there. So, I definitely got great memories, and I love those guys for sure. Great people.
So both you two, Alex and Cole, you got decisions to make at the end of this year. It's your final year in college. Where do you both see your journey taking you for next season?
Obviously I'm just taking it each game as it comes, and I'm very focusing on my final year here before I kind of start to look anywhere else after that. But obviously I'm open to options in the NBL, and I'm a WA kid, so Perth is obviously my favourite team growing up, and who I worked out with plenty of times. It was coming back and forth from home into the States. So, the NBL is definitely on my radar, and I'm just going to wait to see what comes at the end of this season and just focus on this season for what it is now.
And Kyle, are you the same? You focusing a little bit internally at the moment on what's going on, or are you thinking a bit further down the track?
No, exactly the same. I think it's important to pay respect and to Randy, our coach, and make sure that we're fully locked into our guys, especially as me and Alex are taking on such big leadership roles this year and looking to guide young guys like Harry to a great season. So definitely heavily invested in what Sam Marys is doing at the moment, but obviously trying to put my best effort out every night and continue conversations with clubs in the NBL and whatnot. But definitely looking forward to the next year ahead and what professional basketball life has in store for us.
Are clubs already into you? Like how early do you get the phone call saying, have a think about it? You know, your life's going to change next year. Is it already at the point where they're starting to come along and say, we're here, we're interested, have a think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it started kind of probably off my first year of college. If not before I went to college. I mean, I had to talk to a couple of clubs about not going to college and staying home and playing in the NBL, and I think that's a pretty common topic within like the high young junior athlete Australian basketball players. I think a lot of NBL teams try and keep them stay at home, but I definitely wanted to go to America. And then each year I came back for my kind of summer break or whatever the 2 or 3 months we had off. We'd be in conversation with a few teams here and there. In all respects, just asking if I was going to go back, if I was going to stay home, because there's a lot of Aussies that get homesick and come home early. So they're always just on your mind and just asking you and having chats and building relationships, which is important. And but yeah, it's definitely started since I've been in college.
And you all got the chance to come back over here and play against the Wildcats in a pre-season game. Harry, for you, coming back first year and suddenly coming up against Nick Kay, who was representing them at the time, filling in for, I think there were a couple of blokes who were injured at the time, but he's an example of someone massive who you're going to be coming up against. What was that like?
I was unfortunately injured for the Wildcats game, which was a bummer, but which is a big shame. But yeah, it was cool. Definitely a good experience to get that whole tour in general was just really great opportunity for me before going into my first season and going to games that actually matter, having these games to just get reps with the team and sort of find my role with the guys was extremely valuable going into my first year. So it was, extremely grateful for that trip.
So it was a closed door game, so no one was allowed to go in and actually watch it. So we didn't hear a lot about what went on except for a couple of little clips. Did you two manage to get out on court, or I missed that part as well of you two sitting on the sidelines?
No, we were both healthy. Obviously, we had to wait a little bit longer for our Australian tour than Wessels did, but it was a great experience, especially taking all the fellas to Perth and showing them the beauties of Scarborough Beach, Cottesloe, things that we've been talking about for 4 years now. But specifically about that game, it was amazing. Obviously, me and Duke have had and do still have close relationships with not only the staff but the players on that. So there was obviously a bit of banter and whatnot, but it was also a really competitive game that helped us prepare for the season ahead. And we appreciate Wildcats for opening their doors but then closing them again for that game.
Do you two feel a bit of a loyalty at all to the Wildcats because of the way that you've been West Australian guys and all that sort of stuff, or are you able to put all that aside and just focus on where your careers will end up one day?
I'm a very loyal guy. So, I mean, I've always paid respects to Wildcats. I mean, like I said, it's been my favorite NBL team growing up and the only really NBL team I ever looked at growing up. So, like you leave kind of all options on the table at the end of the day and do what's best for you. But yeah, like I said, I do have a kind of a soft spot for Wildcats and that is my favorite NBL team. So.
And now, while Kyle's got a ring just sitting over there a couple of metres away from where you two are sitting at the moment in one place, and Harry's in a different place on Zoom as we do this at the moment, Harry and Alex both have a little thing up on you, Kyle, and that's that they've represented the Boomers so far. So I imagine there's a fair bit of competition that goes on between the three of you about who's achieved the most. Would that be the case, Alex?
No, not at all. We all congratulate each other in different aspects, and we just kind of found the right moment, the right time, and took advantage of opportunities we had when they came up. So, I mean, there's definitely no competition about who's done the most or who hasn't done the whatever. But, we're all super happy for each other and hoping we do the best.
Harry, what was it like for you to represent the Boomers?
It was probably, definitely one of the best days of my life. You see those guys that come up like the Bogats and the Mills and the Baines, and you just kind of, you want to see yourself one day. And so for me to get like a little taste was super lucky, and it was a great experience and something I'll never forget.
Alex, when you look back at your experience with it, like was there a player who took you under his wing, or was there a moment in the game where you think, oh, that person really helped me, or I learned a lot there?
Yeah. So I think when we finished that season over here in the summer leading up to it, Delhi was over here working out at St. Mary's a lot. So I built a good relationship with him going into the first camp in Melbourne, and I guess he was the kind of guy that would always check over his shoulder, make sure I'm all right here and there, and getting through things okay. So I think Delhi was definitely a guy I was close to going in, but like Harry said, it was kind of not a starstruck thing, but like an exciting and cool thing to see guys that you grew up watching playing and doing so well in the sport that you love, and to now going against them one-on-one in practice. And like Harry said, it was a wealth of knowledge that I picked up from them guys, and everyone was loving and everyone was took care of the young guys. So yeah, it was a great environment.
Must have been surreal. Like you go from being college basketball to suddenly they need a couple of extra young guys in the squad when NBA players aren't available and some NBL players weren't available as well. Like, did you look around? Were you starstruck at all, or are you at the stage now where you're able to just go, "No, I'm here. I'll play"?
No, it definitely does. I'll be honest. You definitely get a bit of a starstruck feeling, especially when I got the first email and text message and kind of the lead up to it, and you see the names of the guys on the list, and you're like, wow, like that guy's been in and out of the NBA and here and there and stuff. And it's a little bit starstruck at first, obviously being from Geraldton, not expecting this coming growing up, and now, but yeah, once you get to the practices and the ball gets thrown in the air, it kind of all goes out the window, and you're just playing basketball at the end of the day.
So, Harry, from here for you, we know the other two are going to finish up at the end of this season, having been there for a long time. You're in your first year. So what do you want to build towards for the end of this season into next year as well, knowing that you're a first-year bloke?
For this season, just playing for these two guys and all our seniors, just kind of they've had 3 solid years of hard work, and going to this year, it's their time to shine, and sort of just going in, playing in for them every night and making sure that we have a good season for them is what's important right now. Going forward, just really loving the team at the moment. So I just want to keep getting better and help the team out as much as I can going forward, and sort of just take it season by season. And post St. Mary's, we'll see what happens, but definitely have big dreams, have big goals of where I want to take my career. So I'm excited for the future. So
you mentioned those two and finishing up this year and everyone wanting to make sure that they finish on a high note. Is that a really big cultural thing that the seniors, when they're finishing up, that you want to make sure they go out with the best possible experience in their last year as possible? How much of that is always driven into you culturally?
It's definitely all around the team, and it's just sort of how we see ourselves as a team. I think it's we're all for each other, and we kind of want each other to do the best, and there's no individuals in our team that have their best interests in mind. It's always about everyone else and about the team. So I think, we're great, good guys, and we all think like that.
And Kyle, that mop's looking pretty damn handy. Like you look vastly different to what you did when you were playing for the Wildcats, when you were a skinny bloke and short back and sides a little bit. Now there's a bit of soul glow from coming to America from back in the 80s, early 90s, I reckon, with the way that mo's looking and the way that hair's looking. How long have you been growing that for?
Oh, it's been on and off since I landed on American soil. I'm not even sure if I'm proud of it anymore. It's a bit of like you say, it's a bit of a mop. I'm sure if my mother was in a nearby radius, she would have me get to the hairdresser tomorrow. But that's the beauty of living on your own. You can kind of express yourself how you want. But I'm definitely in need for a cut. So it will be looking like a bit more of a cleaner mullet soon. But for now, it is what it is.
It's a cult figure.
Is there any Luke Travers influence at all in that hair?
No, honestly, I think I inspired Luke Travers with what he's got right now. But we'll leave that up to debate. The mullet's in right now, so I think all the young guys who can pull it off are running with it. And, we're both looking great, so no complaints.
And for you two, so you're living together, obviously, because you're on the same screen that we're looking at. How's it been having this mateship that's started in Australia, take you to St. Mary's and be in the same team, same house, all that sort of stuff? What's it been like as just two mates?
Yeah, it's definitely been incredible, and obviously something that you remember for the rest of your life. And it's made living over here so much easier, knowing that I've grew up with this guy, not grew up with this guy, but lived with this guy previously in Australia, sorry. And we moved out, we lived together, and we've done every step of our career together so far. And it's been really good to have a brother next to you that you can talk to about things and understand why you go through things living from a different country. So it's been a great experience so far, and hopefully we can achieve bigger things.
Well, thanks so much to all of you for coming on. It's great to see that your basketball progression is going so well. I'm sure everyone will follow from here, and hopefully that the St Mary's season continues really strongly, and we'd love to see you in March Madness dominating at some point in a couple of months' time. And as a West Australian-based podcast, I'm sure everyone listening over here would be extremely keen to see two of you playing for the Wildcats next year, and the other one, in a few years' time, they'd love to have a 215-centimetre unit just rock up and take some rebounds, because they certainly need that at the moment. So thank you to the three of you for coming on, and good luck for the rest of the year.
No, appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's certainly been a massive few days for the Perth Wildcats following the decision to sign Ty Webster and release Corey Shervill. Webster gives the team another scoring option, and with Shervill struggling to even get on the court this year, he'd only managed 3.5 minutes of playing time across the last 10 matches, so it's clear he is an upgrade to what they had at the time, but is Ty Webster what the Wildcats need? That's a big question. He's definitely coming to play, so what does that mean for Mitch Norton, given his playing time has slumped and they play in the same position? Have the Wildcats addressed their need for another big? No. And will that come back to haunt them? Possibly. But are they going to be an extremely potent scoring team? Absolutely. It looks like at the moment they're taking the approach that the best way for them to win is to play to their strengths rather than focusing on the way other teams play by bringing in potentially another big. And if you put Bryce Cotton, Corey Webster, Ty Webster and Brady Manick on the floor at the same time, the answer to every single question is we're going to attack. So they've scored 107, 87, 105, 90, 98, 92 and 92 from their last 7 games if we exclude the overtime periods in both Brisbane games. So it's clear this team can score. You're not going to lose many games with those types of scores, and if you chuck in another bloke who can score like Ty Webster, they could seriously go out and say, we're just going to try and score 100 points every single game, and if you beat us, you beat us. Is it the right call? We'll have to wait and see. The proof will well and truly be in the pudding, and they spent a month trying to get this deal done, and whilst we only found out about it late, it's clear that they have believed that this is their best way forward from here. So it'll be very exciting to watch them play. Whether it works, we'll have to wait and see, but it's either going to be a genius move or one that hasn't paid off. Regardless, they have Ty Webster contracted for next season now as well, which is a good position to be in for building your list for next year. From the Perth Lynx perspective, they are now 5th on the ladder and can go to 5-5 against the Sydney Flames on Saturday. The Lynx were way too good for Adelaide last weekend with an 82-72 win. Lauren Scherf is in some extreme form at the moment. She had 11 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks against the Lightning. Is going like an absolute champion right now. She went 14-13 against the Flames earlier in this season, so she could be on triple-double watch again this weekend. And Chloe Bibby, well, she's been on absolute fire. She had 25 points and 9 rebounds against Adelaide. I spoke to Coach Ryan Petrick after the game and asked him about his thoughts on how she is slotted into the WNBL.
Chloe Bibby has taken to the WNBL like a duck to water. Just every game. She's just our no-maintenance player. We just roll her out. She could play 40 minutes in her sleep if she wanted to. So we played her some more minutes tonight. But she never gets tired. She, obviously, again, same as Sherfy, she can shoot the heck out of it. If we had an all-star weekend type NBA three-point shootout, and just put the balls in the rack, she would win that by so far it's not funny.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Dribble Podcast. Remember, you can read all of your basketball news in the West Australian newspaper and keep logging on to thewest.com.au. Thank you to Alex Ducas, Carl Bowen and Harry Wessels for their time from the US. Thanks to Samantha Rogers for her production work. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Dribble Podcast.